How long have you been here at Fenway?
6 years. Horses get a nice walk up. It's very tranquil here, I think you'd agree. It's a very quiet place.
Things may be tranquil at Fenway stables, but one horse in particular has been giving trainer Brendan Duke plenty to shout about.
Racing well inside the last 200 and Warm the Voice in the lead. Racing up towards the finish, Shifter's Strategy has moved into second, but Warm the Voice and Kevin Manning going to score in the colours of Jim Bolger for Brendan Duke.
Kevin, he is really smart. I'm talking about this being a racehorse. He's a really smart horse, Kevin, with a brilliant mind.
But it's Warm the Voice in front as they run towards the finish. Warm the Voice, driven out by Kevin Manning, will score for Brendan Duke.
Kevin is really good. He's such a good colt, Kevin.
Warm the Voice just forges to the front from Sprit Saoirse. Quizzical in the centre. Drumbeg Dream is coming home towards the outside, but it's Warm the Voice as they go to the line. Extends his winning sequence for Brendan Duke.
He's a beautiful horse to be around. Like, he just, what do you want me to do? I'll do that for you, Brendan. No fuss, no dramas, fantastic temperament, and there's a lot more to come, Kevin.
The recent success of Warm the Voice now has Brendan dreaming of a first classic victory. A victory that would be a long time in the making. For the 65-year-old spent 20 years as assistant to Jim Bolger before taking out a license to train in 2001. Success with the likes of Open Eyed, Zephonical Storm and Sammy the Snake soon put Brendan's name in the headlines, with his post-race interviews endearing him to the racing public. Now in his mid-60s and about to become a father once again, Brendan is enjoying life more than ever. I joined the passionate doubler man on the Curragh as he put the final touches to his stable star's preparation for the Beresford Stakes.
They're mine now, just walking across the grass there.
So Brendan, what have we seen this morning? You just had a breeze, really, didn't you?
Just had a canter up there, Luke. He's as fit as he could be. It's mainly for Kevin to just have a sit on him.
He must be a big help having someone like Kevin, isn't it?
He's a big help if he's riding a good one.
He doesn't help you out much.
But I tell you one thing, when he stands over there and he does this with one and he takes off the other glove and he pushes up the goggles and he opens the chin strap and he looks at you, this is going to struggle, Brendan. It's not a big help. And then he'll walk to about here and he'll look back at me. If it's one of Jim's, it wouldn't always be one of Jim's, but he'll look back at me and say, you give Jim a ring. And that's before the breakfast, right?
Still, it's better to know, I suppose.
But look, we don't hide anything here, Luke. We're totally open book. My owners can call in any time. There's no phone calls. They know about their horses. In my opinion, the most important thing for an owner is to know whether they should be spending their money or they should be stopping the clock. And if we have to stop the clock, we stop the clock. Okay, off you go.
How hard is it now, Brent, to make a living as a smaller trainer?
Luke, it is my opinion that not just for a smaller trainer, it is my humble opinion that training racehorses just doesn't pay. If you are running an operation that is washing its face, you are doing a really, really good job. And then you're hoping you put your hand on a Warm the Voice or a few horses like that, you're getting your percentage of prize money. There is no point in playing around at this. Like, you're going out to run against consummate professionals. So, and you probably haven't got the same talent. I feel the smaller people have a bit of an advantage insofar as you can know your horses backwards, right? And you get time to know every horse. And there's probably more time doing the horses. the one people riding the horses all the time. Economically, training racehorses just doesn't pay.
Despite this, Brendan Duke has maintained a training business for 16 years, benefiting in recent times with his link-up with former boss Jim Bolger, who along with his wife Jackie, continue to support the yard with a steady influx of homebred talent.
I think he is an absolutely amazing man. What Jim has achieved, Luke, with his own money and what he's putting into racing and the employment he's giving, and more importantly, the enthusiasm and the drive of him at this stage of his life, when quite clearly he doesn't really need to be doing it, is absolutely amazing.
Because he's not only, I mean, he's obviously a brilliant trainer, but he's also, you know, nurtured brilliant people. Aidan O'Brien, Carberry, McCoy. You know, there's been countless people, hasn't there?
He has, yeah, but...
Brendan Duke.
Look, Jim thinks that you have a modicum of ability. He will do everything he can to maximise it. Now, you need to be prepared to do the graft, and you need to be prepared to be professional, and you also need to be prepared that it's going to take time. Like, I laugh to myself at times. I think of him every day. If there's not a text on the phone with 2 question marks in the morning, I still think about him. I've guys will come in and they'll sit on a horse twice for you, and they think they should be riding him in a race. Now, I genuinely believe that if Ryan Moore went down to work with Jim Bolger, Ryan Moore would be expected to muck out 4 or 5, put his horses on the walker and do them up. That's just the way it is. But I loved working with him because he just wants the best for you, for the horses, for his owners. He wants the best, and he's never happy. He's all the time striving for perfection. Oh, there's a 1.25 miles round sand gallop up the other end.
And the facilities here, I haven't really seen them close up before. They're absolutely magnificent on the Curragh.
That's probably one of the best training centre in Europe, to be honest with you, Luke. I think, if we're being honest, if you couldn't train winners at the Curragh, you need to be selling pick and mix somewhere, to be honest. And it's amazing for the amount of horses on the Curragh, the way it all just fits in, you know?
It doesn't seem quite as, I mean, obviously it's competitive, but it doesn't seem quite, there's no sort of backbiting or bitching up here, is there? Everyone seems all the
Oh,
trains.
you're early this morning, OK.
You can get a bit competitive, can it?
Well, sure, look, it is competitive, Luke. It is competitive. Everyone wants to win. I mean, that's the name of the game.
Did you reckon it's harder to win in Ireland than it is in England?
There is no doubt, I would have no doubt in the world, Luke, that the most competitive racing in Europe is in Erin's Green Isle. There is no doubt about that.
Is it got? But it's a bit like the Premier League. There's only 3 or 4 teams that can possibly win the Premier League every. I know. The hope is that Leicester did go and win it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But does it become? Do you feel like banging your head against a brick wall when you go to the Curragh and you're taking on 3 of Aidan's and what you're saying?
Well, my head has enough problems without banging it off the wall, to be honest. We don't come to the Curragh to run in a maiden unless we think that the horse should be there.
Right.
But to be honest, Luke, there's no hiding place in Ireland in a maiden. You can go to Gowran Park, you can go down country, go to Cork, go to Listowel, go wherever you like, go to Dundalk, like Caravaggio. He made his debut in Dundalk. Now, I will admit that if you're going up to Dundalk and you think, I have a good chance in this maiden up here, and something comes out and you're looking at it from a 12 lengths distance, you do a fair bit of talking to yourself going home. You do. But then the form book proves what you were taking on like. But there is nowhere in Ireland you can go to find an easy maiden.
Zephonical Storm and David Bourne is going to make all the running as they race up towards the finish. Zephonical Storm is going to turn over Chinese Whisper.
I had a priest in school years ago. He used to say, Brendan, simple rules for simple people, and we kept it simple.
One cool cocky open-eyed towards the inside, and they fly it with open-eyed on the inside. It's got to be a huge day for Brendan Duke, who won earlier on with Zephonical Storm. Open-eyed makes it two runners for him here under Davy Russell.
It's just absolutely brilliant. I'm absolutely over the moon. To be honest with you, I'm over the moon about this.
Running up towards the finish, and Sammy the Snake's coming back for David Bourne on the far side. Sammy the Snake beats Scoopio.
You're very lucky now, as you say, you've got some good horses. There've been times when you thought, I just can't carry on doing this. You know, you said at once you're down to 5 horses or something. It's over a stage you thought, this is not for me.
No, Luke. I will admit to being terrified that I wouldn't be able to do it. I will admit in Lambourn that most mornings towards the end I was getting up and I was physically ill before I went up to the yard. I will admit that. I'm not proud of that. Every day I walked into the yard. Once I actually walked through the gates into the yard, I felt fine. And once I was with the horses on the gallop, I felt fine. When I would walk back into the house, that was different. But when I was with the horses, it was just like walking into another land. I was fine once I was with the horses. I couldn't tell myself, look, you've given this your best shot, Brendan. You've got to try and find something else to do with your life that will be easier. I couldn't do that, Luke, because I just didn't want to be away from the horses. I didn't want to be away. I would try and keep going with one horse, to be honest with you. If you can have enough to get by, it is a fantastic life. It's a very, shall I say, after all of that, a health, like you're out on the gallops in the morning, the yearlings come in, or the 3-year-old national hunt or 4-year-old national hunt horses come in. You're totally in charge of their lives. You are totally responsible for teaching those horses properly, manners, respect, and bringing them along. And would you stop your clown? And bringing them along to maximise their ability. I mean, it is great. You are like a school teacher. You know, only you're an equine teacher.
And of course, you've still got over the winter to dream.
Well, I've always, every yearling that comes in here, he's going to be a champion, be it a colt or a filly. He's going to be a champion. Now, deep inside, you know it's not going to happen, but it sustains you for periods of time. Yeah. You know, that's just what keeps me going. Keeps me going. I'm going to train an Irish Derby winner, please God, provided your man upstairs doesn't want anyone to push a wheelbarrow, right? I firmly believe that will happen. And I would bring the crowds back to the Curragh that have been very sparse in the past. I would bring them back, I think. I'm having a great time, Luke. I'm having a great life at the moment. I've never been as happy in my life. I am absolutely honoured that you're here this morning. I truly am. It means a huge amount to me, and I'm very conscious of the At the Races viewers and how kind they've been to me, and to At the Races how kind they've been to me. It means a huge amount to me, and it's something else to go in the locker if I find out that I'm training zebras for a while. I will get myself through it. I will get myself through it.